live from the J.C. Newman Cigar Studios in the great state of New Hampshire and the Gurkha Cigar Studios in fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. Welcome to the Smokin Tabacco Show with your hosts, Matt Tobacco and Kevin Acuff.
Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Matt Tobacco from SmokinTabacco.com, and I am not joined by Kevin Acuff tonight as he had something come up and he could not make it tonight. But that's okay, because I have a great guest with me tonight. Someone who I've been wanting to have on the show for a very long time. He's a very good friend of mine. I love him very much, but I just can't help but bust his balls sometimes, because that's what you do to your friends, you know?
Don't do it.
And he's always been
fire ammo today.
He's been a great supporter of ours. So, all joking aside, without further ado, it's Mr. Willy Marante of La Aurora. Willy, you have.
How you doing, everybody? Thank you for having me on, Matthew.
Absolutely. You know, it's long overdue. It's long overdue. The only thing I wish was that John Carney was here with us for this, and then I wouldn't have to get any blood on my hands, because I'd let John Carney do it.
Don't act like he didn't send you a list of things to try to ask me.
No, he didn't. I haven't talked to John today, actually. I've been busy, you know, living my own life, but. But I know a couple of things he probably would want me to ask you. So, but I'll save those for later. I'll save them for later. You know, let's be serious, of course. It's great to have you on the show, and I know we caught up with you at PCA earlier this year, and I tend to see you a couple times a year at, you know, the trade show or events around. I know you travel a lot, so but to actually sit down with you and have you on my show, I mean, this is something special. So welcome. So. First of all,
and it's a great week. You couldn't pick a better week.
You know, I was gonna say it's been a great week. You know, lots been going on. You know, the Celtics are NBA Finals champions. They raised their 18th banner this year. We couldn't be more proud of, you know, the best team in the league this year. They went all the way to the end and they came out on top, and it's truly something special. But you know, down in South Florida, you know, you guys got the Stanley Cup the other night, so that's something to be excited about. I'll give you that. That's a good win. You know, you lost last year to Vegas, but you came back, and you know, you made it happen. You redeemed yourself. So you have to give credit where it's due. You know, we lost to Florida, and they were a tough team. They played a real physical game, and you know, they came out on top. So bravo. You know, the Miami area did not go home empty-handed at all this year, which is. You know, we wouldn't want that for you, Willy. So, I made it 5 minutes and 58 seconds. I'm sorry, I couldn't do it. I had to get it out so that I could just do the rest of the show. I'm sorry.
I will say congratulations on your banner rating moment. I mean, It's been a long time coming for the Celtics. It was 2008.
Yep.
So, you know. In my lifetime that I've been born, that's my Heat have 3, your Celtics have 2. But I know you guys love history, so, you know, we'll count all your banners from back then. So it's okay.
Well, why wouldn't you, though? I mean, banners are banners. So 30 years from now, when your kids are watching the NBA, and they're like, oh, yeah, you know, I've only seen 1, but, you know, my dad's seen 3, you know, so I guess we'll count them. Wow, they're still there, right? I mean, come on. Why are you going to say it like that?
I was having that conversation with Dad today, because I was like, all right, Dad, so, you know, I'm coming the weekend. We're going to the parade on Sunday. He's like, we're going to go to that. And I was like, listen, if we did all 3 Marlins parade and 2 rallies that they did during 2003, we can do the 1 Stanley Cup parade in Fort Lauderdale. We're going to be all right. That'll be our 7th parade together, so get it together.
Well, you know, you guys have some celebrating to do. So, you know, you earned that. I know, like, the Heat didn't go, but, you know, you guys still got a championship, you know, for the Miami area. So it's nothing to discredit. So, you know, I got to give it to you guys.
What I like about it, it completes the 4. So now South Florida holds all 4 major sports, and hopefully a 5th coming with Lord Messi and MLS, and we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true. But you get the 4. That's pretty big. There's a lot of cities that don't even have 1.
That's a big one. That's a small list right now. That's a small list there that's only done that.
Isn't it nice to be in a city that all your teams have won a championship before. Isn't that cool? It's cool, right?
With that.
Welcome,
We're gonna talk cigars.
welcome to the
Cigars.
club.
We're gonna talk cigars.
We are.
Did you like my Facebook picture? I did that on purpose.
I know what you did there. One thing I will say though, on a serious note, are you on Wi-Fi or cellular right now? Because you're coming a little choppy, and I just don't know if it's.
Wi-Fi.
You're on
I'm
Wi-Fi?
on Wi-Fi.
That's weird. That's really weird.
Yeah.
You're a little choppy. That's okay. We'll see if we can tough it out. Maybe it'll get a little bit better. I don't know. But we'll see. You sound okay, but your video's a little choppy. But I figured I'd just give you the heads up. But hey, listen. Before we get too into the conversation, I have a couple of things I have to do. Got to shout out a couple of people to help make this show happen. Right. First one, they definitely carry La Aurora. And that's our friends at the number2guyscigars.com. That's right, the number2guyscigars.com. Head over there today for an amazing selection of cigars and cigar accessories from all over the cigar industry, including, but not limited to, La Aurora. They are a La Aurora authorized retailer. They carry the cigars. I believe they have what I'm smoking tonight, which is the La Aurora 120, which is a fantastic cigar, I must say myself. Willie, what are you smoking with us tonight?
I am having the 120.
You have a 120? Oh, look at that. Great minds think alike.
It's almost like we thought about that and planned it out today.
I know. I think so. You know, it's funny how those things happen. But as always, in addition to that, I am cutting and lighting my cigars with none other than St. Dupont products. That's right, St. Dupont. Shake up the legacy. I'm using the new Fluo Collection Maxi Jet single torch lighter. Look at that. Fantastic. Flat black matte finish on the body with that bright neon trigger on the side. It's fantastic. It's pops. I know the boys have them too. I think Kevin's got the blue one. Coop's got the green one. Fantastic. Really cool. Especially if you're a tactical guy, you'd really love this. And it's a Dupont lighter, so it's going to last you forever. So big shout out to our friends at St. Dupont. Now, since we are talking La Aurora, we're talking 120 years, right, Willie? Oldest cigar factory in the Dominican Republic, or so they say. You know, definitely something to celebrate. You want to talk about history, you want to talk about celebrating all that nonsense. Get down to the brass taxes here. La Aurora, been around a very long time. Made a lot of cigars. I got the 120 here tonight. You're smoking the 120. Historic brand. I think almost everybody who smokes cigars, at least somewhat casually, at a minimum, has probably heard of La Aurora at their local brick and mortar shop. They've probably seen it online, whatever it is. You've probably come across it before. It's a storied brand. Willie, you're with them now. I know you've been with them for a little while now. Which is awesome. But tell us a little bit about the 120. You know, what's this blend about? I know this is kind of a celebration. I know this is kind of a big moment for you guys, but just tell me all about this.
So the 120 was not just your typical anniversary blend. Obviously, it was also the commencement of La Aurora 2.0, the new Dawn, which is our new chapped La Aurora, where we've gone completely in-house. We control, whole U.S. distribution. We're in construction phase of our warehouse and distribution in Miami. We have to have that completed by the end of Q3 and stuff like that. But it's a whole new La Aurora. Like I tell people when I visit stores, it's not your father's La Aurora, it's La Aurora 2.0. And the 120th was the cigar that helped launch us, obviously, when we went live in April of last year. It's 100% Dominican puro, and Guillermo was very adamant that I had to stay 100% Dominican. So all components are 100% Dominican. You're talking Habano 92 wrapper. You're talking Olor Cabonet from the Cibao Valley in the binder, and then the filler that all has Olor Cabonet, Piloto Cubano, Coro, and San Vicente in it. So obviously, once you light up, you get that nice little black little pepper bomb kind of going. It's very subtle. It's not overly powerful, but it's a nice little sediment. And the cigars to celebrate what the factory is. It's 120 years. It's it's legacy of dedication. It's knowledge, passion, creativity, and their desire for excellence. When you talk about 120 years, a lot of people have come through those doors. Some great blenders and cigar masterminds. And this cigar pays homage to all that, down to the family tie-ins, where the wrapper is from Eduardo's farm, which is Guillermo's brother. So it's a very personal blend, to say the least, out of all the blends in the portfolio. Um, and obviously we're putting it out there, and it's the first cigar I think people have seen in years that they open up Cigar Snob. It's there. You open up Cigar Aficionado, it's there. So we're putting our money where our mouth is, and we're out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've seen you guys making. I mean, like I said, you've been around a long time, so you've been growing for a long time. But I've seen you guys make some moves the last few years, and working with other, obviously, you guys make cigars for other people as well, which is nothing new. But some newer brands have come up that I know have really been celebrating that they were here, such as Don Durateo. I know has been really proud of some of the stuff that they've done with La Aurora. I remember you came on board at your distribution, as you just mentioned. You guys are doing a lot more of your own distribution. So good things, good things, and it's exciting to see from a brand that's been around for so long. Making, like you said, a lot of people have come in and out of those doors over that time. A lot of blenders and great people, which again, there's a lot of brands out there. Not a lot of brands that can say they've been doing it that long. I'm trying to think of, some of the others that are close. I mean, I know Arturo Fuente.
You have the Newmans. The Newmans here in Tampa. I mean, at Orlando.
The Newmans are like
138
years now?
Up 99, no? Or...
Nah, I thought they were over 100 years.
Up there. And you have, obviously, you being from New England, I learned about this brand running around up there. You got the Topper family up there out of Connecticut.
Yeah.
They've been doing it for close to 100 plus also.
Yep. Yeah, so I mean, again, there's you got some.
It's a pretty cool club to be in.
It's an exclusive club, to say the least. Now, hey, I wanted to bring this up because I don't think I've had anyone from La Aurora on the show before, and there's something about La Aurora that I'll be honest, I've never really spent a lot of time really going over. But you guys do something that's kind of, I would say, unique, because I don't hear a lot of other manufacturers or, blenders or whatever really talking about it. You guys have a method down there that you use with your tobacco called andullo, which I know in the past we've seen it at the show. I think Don Durateo had a whole thing of andullo in their booth last year that they were showing around, and it's just it's very interesting, and I've always found it to be, anytime I've smoked any cigars that have it, I've always liked it. But it's interesting. So, and you can fill in the gaps for me here, but the tobaccos essentially are rolled tight into a bundle together. Wet.
It's squeeze dried in palm tree leaves.
Yes.
Squeezed multiple times over a 2-year period before it's put into the aging. So technically what andullo is the oldest form of cultivating tobacco in the Dominican Republic since the Taino Indians. So this is a tradition the Tainos used to do back in the day. They would roll up the tobacco, they squeeze it dry, they throw it on their shoulder, and they go village to village, cutting it up, trading for goods. The only thing that's different in what we're doing with it is that they have found a way to decompress that log and pretty much do long fillers. Andullo for a long time was only used short filler and pipe tobacco and chewing tobacco. I can tell you that in the years I've been with the factory, that's the only part of the factory I've never seen, which is how they decompress that into long filler format. So they're holding the keys and secrets to that. But it's a truly work of art, the way they squeeze right, and the amount of work that goes to it. Those guys, hats off to them.
Yeah, and the aromas off that tobacco too. I know I've smelled it before. So sweet. Just, man, what a smell. It's just so inviting, and I have to say.
If you smoke it pure grade, it is power bomb.
Really?
Power bomb if you smoke it pure grade. I'll make sure to get you some little pure grades so you can see it. What you smell is one thing, and when you light up that you go straight in, you're like, oh, okay. So,
yeah, I'd definitely be down for that.
The La Aurora ADL does have That's why I love the ADN. It has Cameroon, Dominican, Nicaragua, and Duyo, and it also has Pennsylvania broadleaf in it. So I don't think it's in that pack, but I'll make sure to get you one.
Ah, okay. Yeah, like I said, it's a tobacco that you guys obviously do a lot with it. I think there's some other people that I do work with it, but I know it's kind of a main staple at La Aurora, and I didn't want to glaze over that because I think that's important to mention. And yeah, like I said, the few times I have had it, it's good. And it's got a great flavor to it, and like I said, that the aromas that come off of that tobacco, and I've never had it straight up like you mentioned, and I would definitely be down for that challenge. But yeah, man, it's so special, and I think it's obviously a staple for you guys. So you have been. You've been working with some other stuff lately too. I know at the trade show, you guys had some other products that you guys were showing, which I don't think I have with me. I think I did. I don't know. The thing with the trade show is a lot of the times all the samples, like, they all get broken up, and I don't know who gets what and where. So I don't know if I have any of that other stuff. But I know you had some other stuff that you were highlighting at the show that was kind of important, and I wanted to talk about that tonight as well. And I'm going to let you kind of roll that out for us.
So at the trade show, we case every 2 years we do a limited release called Puro Vintage. So we released that at a trade show. All the tobacco was harvested since 2014. Great smoke, Salmones. I think we're pretty much all sold out of it. I don't think there's anything left. And then we also had our annual Horse Dog, which is all the tobacco aged 12 years. We treat that like our opus. It only comes out once a year, limited amount of boxes to limited amount of retailers and stuff like that. I know the one thing that had your eye at the show was the 120 LE, which was the black tubo. It had the 120
Oh, yes.
and number one preferred because it had the Jacob and Co. collaborate watch. So we on display the watch humidor. So you bought the watch, you got it in that humidor with the 10 cigars. As for the cigar, it is the same cigar that you're smoking right now. It just came in a Perfito number 1 size. The tube was paying homage back to the original tube the factory made back in 1903. So instead of just pulling upwards and separating like it does now, it opens up horizontally, and it has 2 jewels on it, which are very indigenous to the island. So it has an amber and a larimar, which is obviously 2 biggest jewels of the DR and stuff like that.
That's the one thing that, when you've been around a long time, I feel like you have the freedom to, as a brand, as a company, I feel like you have the freedom to be a little bit more creative with some of your more special projects. I think today, and you've been around the block, so to speak. There's a lot of brands now. There's a lot of boutique brands. A lot of people doing limited editions and stuff like that. A lot of newer companies, much younger companies, doing limited editions and small productions and special projects and stuff like that, which is cool. And we've covered them and we've tried them, and there's some great products that these people make. But I feel like when you've been around,
but that's still the new wave, though. That's the new wave. Like, we had that wave where every cigar had to be $6 to $8. Now we're on everything is on a $30-$40 range, or everything is higher, and everything is small batch, everything is limited. I feel like cigar industry is just like the music industry. We have different waves of production beats and stuff like that. Now we're riding this wave where everyone's going into the high rates. Everyone's doing limited edition, small batch, and stuff like that.
That's true. Do you think that when a brand like La Aurora, that's been around for a long time, that's got obviously a very extensive core line that keeps the lights on and pays the bills, does it kind of diminish, like, when you guys do a special project or a very limited release that should be really special? Do you think the fact that now everyone does limited editions and special releases, like, does it kind of like diminish it for all of those who don't do a lot of them and try to do actual, like, really, really special stuff? Or do you think it kind of all just kind of blends together? Like, what's your thought on that contrast there between, like, the smaller companies and the bigger companies that kind of work on these projects?
Everyone has their story to tell. So everyone does their best to market and sell their story to whatever it is. We have one of the great stories that we are just really starting to tell it, that's never really been told. 121 years this year and stuff like that. Everyone kind of knows about it, but we're out for the first time and you've been around. I think this is the most aggressive you've ever heard of La Aurora be in what you've seen in the last year and a half, give or take.
I'd agree.
Especially in your market, New England, which I love to death, but it's one of the hardest markets to get up there.
I would say so. I mean, you have Massachusetts, which it's a very tight market, due to taxes and stuff like that. A lot of the older shops that eventually close down or whatever, there's not much that really comes in and replaces them. There's shops there. Don't get me wrong, but barely any lounges. There's a few, not that there's none, but there's barely any. And then outside of that, just regular shops. There's not much more of them.
It's hard. Heavy taxation, the state makes it difficult for you guys and stuff like that,
Well,
and it's not just
hold on.
mass,
hold on. It's not you guys. I don't live there.
And you have Big Brother.
I live in the great state of New Hampshire.
You figure, yes, where things are normal.
Well, I mean,
But it's hard.
Yeah, and even to your point, I mean, even here in New Hampshire, we have no sales tax, no tobacco tax, which is huge, and it's a luxury. Don't get me wrong; it's not something I, take for granted. But even still, I mean, we have some great shops here. I mean, Two Guys Smoke Shop, Twin Smoke Shop, Castro's, Federal. Who else am I missing? Just a lot of great shops here. And still not as many as I'd say like some of the other states like Florida or Pennsylvania or, especially down south. There always just seems to be a lot. Rhode Island, there's a lot of shops. There's a lot of shops in Rhode Island, which is still, kind of part of New England.
Rhode Island needs to stop giving away cigar licenses and liquor part-time. Stop it.
They have a lot of places down there. It's it's funny. They're the smallest state in the country.
Every time I pull in Rhode Island, there's at least 5 new shops.
Dude, seriously. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of I know a lot of shops down there. There's a lot of great shops down there too, and I know a lot of those people. But yeah, it's a lot of shops. I mean, you think about how small Rhode Island is and how many shops they actually have. You're like, damn, you can't go a mile. Excuse me. You can't go a mile without running into a cigar shop. I mean, it's insane. So, which is again, well, then it's great because you have a lot of stores there, a lot of stores to sell. I'd say it's it's a good market. There's a lot of shops, but again, I know that could probably be tricky too. And then you go up to Mass and New Hampshire, and it's quite smaller. Also, most of New Hampshire is a lot more rural too. So I mean, outside of southern New Hampshire, like where I live, and where most of the bigger known shops are. I mean, once you start going 45 to an hour north of me, I mean, you start to get a little more quiet. And there's a couple places up there, but like Cigar Shenanigans, which is up in North Conway. But it starts to thin out.
It's always nice.
Yeah. And they're opening another spot too. I think it's called Penny's Public House, and it's going to be like definitely the largest in New England. I don't know. It's going to be big. I know it's going to be like really, really big, and I'm not sure where it's going to be, but I know it's going to be a lot further north than me. So, I know Nicole already said like, hey, when that opens, we gotta go up there. So I'm excited for that, but. I heard it's going to be a massive, massive place. So you're definitely going to have to get up here and go visit them too, for sure.
I'll be up soon.
Yeah, when's the last time you were up here? I can't even remember.
It was a little bit before the show. Right before the show. Okay.
Yeah, you still have to come make your Smokin Tabacco Lounge debut. I mean, you got to come and smoke a cigar with me. It's my new thing.
This is one half of it. Now I gotta go in person to see it.
Yeah, you come on the show digitally, that's fine. But now you gotta come in, And so far we've had a few. Terrence Riley was the first. He wasn't on the show in the studio, but he was the first to come into our personal lounge and hang out with us. And there's been a few others since then too. But yet Carney hasn't been here yet, which he's long overdue for. I have to say he should have made a special trip for that. But he's also very busy. I know he's got a lot going on. But Carney hasn't been here, so you also have the opportunity to beat Carney in here, which is huge. I don't know. I got a special spot for him too. It's all set up, for when he makes his arrival here. It's gonna be great. Sit here and watch basketball. I don't know. I'm just saying, just throwing out some ideas. Don't shoot me.
Watch hockey.
We can watch hockey too. I do like hockey. Although I didn't know you were such a hockey guy. You really came alive there in the playoffs. I didn't know you were a big hockey guy though.
Hockey's the one sport. I mean, obviously, you follow my social media, so I'm big with Dad on sports and stuff like that. It's the one sport I can't really share with my dad because he doesn't quite understand it.
Right.
So, I watch him privately at home and stuff like that. It's been a great 2-year run for the team. But, he took me to the first 2 games in '94 when it was at the old Miami Arena. And even back then, he would take me to the old Florida Hammerhead games when it was the rollerblading league that we had also at that time. So it's not something I'm not around or follow as much. It's just I don't share it with Dad, so I just don't post as much and stuff like that.
Okay, I respect that.
But don't worry about it. Football season's corner, and you'll be getting, a lot of Hurricane and Dolphin stuff on the weekend. So stay tuned.
Well, Hurricanes
wrap up
for sure.
This parade and celebration, and we're going hard into football.
Hurricanes for sure. Dolphins. Well, we'll see. I don't know. It's been kind of quiet. The AFC East has been, it's been owned for a while. So
I think it's anyone's taking this year.
Anyone's
taking this year. It's wide open.
I think this year you're right. This is what I'll say. I know we're not doing anything this year. I think that goes without saying. If the Bills are going to have a good season, and if they're going to go far, I think this is their season. And if they don't, I don't know. I think out of who's left, it ain't going to be the Jets. I don't care if Rodgers does play well. It's not going to be the Jets. Really, to be honest with you, I think the Dolphins probably have the best shot of becoming the next top AFC East team for a little while. It's I mean, just out of what's going on here, I mean, if the Bills don't
they could win the division and they still haven't won a playoff game. So they, like McDaniel said, it's been 24 seasons we don't win a playoff game. So
I have to say,
come December.
and I have to say too, and I know that there's probably going to be some comments on this later from people who listen to the show, no names mentioned, but there's a few regulars that love to debate on coaches in the NFL. But I kind of like I do. I like McDaniels. I think he's a cool dude. I love his press conferences. I don't
He's
know.
a troll machine. He loves to troll.
Dude, he's fun to watch. He is. He's fun to watch. I gotta give you guys. He's a fun coach. So I do enjoy that.
All of our coaches pretty much have that little swag. All of our head coaches, because even Maurice was gold in his post during the playoffs.
Maurice is cool too. I gotta admit, I was a little pissed at him last year with some of his comments, but. He won a Stanley Cup this year, so I mean, I gotta give it to him. But yeah, even Paul Maurice, I mean, he's kind of stone cold, man. I mean, it's just I don't know. I mean,
when they made that big hit, and he was asked at the press card, "Oh, what did you think? Should that have been a major? This and that?" He's like, "Why are you asking me? I ain't got no feelings. This ain't the Oprah show. We got to play the next game. Let's go."
I will say though. It was a little weird that you guys went up 3-0, then you lost 3 in a row and pushed to Game 7. I honestly was starting to fear the worst for you guys, as I'm sure you guys were too. I mean, that was kind of like, oh shit, what's going on here? I don't know, but I got to give it to them. They came home, and I don't know what Paul Maurice said to them in that locker room that night, but whatever it is, they got it done. And I will say the other thing I'll give Florida. Because I've seen the clip like 100 times, and it is badass. I mean, is Kachuk saving that empty netter? You know the one I'm talking about? Where he's just sliding in. He's got that stick all the way out. And I'm like, I got anxiety watching it. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
that was game five. Game five. That was crazy.
Fuck. That was what a
But even
save.
watching game 7, the open net opportunities that Edmonton had, and they just couldn't get the pass right. They couldn't get this, it was just so many opportunities that are there. It just feels like it's going Florida's way.
Right.
But from what I heard, all they did different was I don't think they skated that they normally do. They changed up their practice routines, I guess, to get some fresher legs in. And you kind of saw it that they did come out a little more, banging them on the boards and a little more aggressive. So whatever they did, it worked. But I tried everything I could to be in South Florida to celebrate when it happened. Tried watching a game with my dad. I told him, you're bad luck. I don't even know why I tried watching championship games with you. I normally have to watch it and then come celebrate after.
Wow. Yeah, throw shade at your dad.
When it got serious at 7, I said, I'm going back home. I'm in Orlando. My friends are like, what are you doing? I was like, listen, I'm turning off my phone at 6. I had Tom from Smoker Friendly calling me, and I was like, listen, I'm radio silence. I don't want to talk to anybody. And I suffered it by myself in my apartment. Job done. The job done. But I didn't want to be with anybody. I was like, I didn't want to know what my social media would look like had the Panthers lost. I know all you guys were ready to bring the wrath of God down on me. So thank God, what could have been never happened.
Yeah. A lot of the times too, when you go on social media, you get yourself in trouble. I mean, come on. But
I'll tell you why I like to do stuff. I'm so tired of reading all this separational stuff that's going on in the country and all this political stuff.
Sure.
I use my social media for fun and just sports, and let's have fun, let's make jokes, and let's just have fun. That's what it's there for. I know sometimes I purposely, and I tell you, I wonder what can I write that's just going to trigger people. Let's just have fun and switch it up, But let's talk sports. Let's talk that than something that's going to cause an argument where people are going to be more separated than what we are already, Like that. Let's just have fun. Life is too short for all that.
Well, it's funny. It's like I said before, at the end of the day, it's all fun, and I love you too, and I love messing around with it because I know you can take it, you can dish it, and it's a great time. No one ever ends up texting each other later, be like, "Hey, bro, I really thought you were being a dick," and it's like, no one really gets feelings hurt. It's always fun. If it wasn't, we wouldn't do it. So, I love having fun with you, and especially with sports. I'm a big sports guy, and I love talking sports. My wife doesn't watch sports. My brother-in-law don't watch sports. So no one in the family really does. So I have my friends to talk sports with, and that's where it is. So anytime I'm with them, it's either cigars or it's sports. That's all I really talk about in my social circle, especially when I go on social media. So that's my place to do it and I'm in the house. It's
I love the North End. Obviously, I always have a spot on the North End. It helped me become a rep and everything working up there. You guys make people earn it in the cigar industry and in the sports world. And that's why I love the banter. There's nobody I'd rather do battle with on the sports against than my friends and family from the North End. You guys bring it, and it's always fun.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the North End. It's a historic neighborhood. In Boston, it's a special place, and and that's the thing about Boston, man. It's we're and it's not even just about the sports. Obviously with the sports, it's. Anyone who follows sports knows about Boston. It doesn't matter what sport it is or what team. Like it's all of them, right? But this is a tough city. This is a tough city. I mean, there's people are gonna tell you how it is. They're not gonna dance around it. They're not shy. They're not soft. Whether it's sports or it's anything else. This is a town that like you say, it can make or break you, and then no one's going to be shy about it either. It's if you survive through here, you can survive anywhere. So that's what I'll say. That's what I'll say.
100%.
But hey, let's take a break really quick. I want to read off the news. We have some interesting news that kind of affects everyone in the cigar industry this week. So I'm going to rattle this off. But our news is once again brought to you by Micallef Cigars. That's right, featuring the new Micallef Blue, as well as the Micallef Black, which was rated 91 last year on SmokinTabacco.com by Kevin Acuff. Check it out now, Micallef Black. It's a blackout. This week, a few weeks ago, we had gotten the news that Scott Pierce, the executive director of the PCA, was leaving to head over to the Cigar Association of America, the CAA. And so today we got the news that the PCA has named its new executive director in Joshua Habersky, who's not a new face to the PCA by any means, but he is now going to step in and fill the role from Scott Pierce, which is interesting. And, obviously an inside hire, someone who's already been around the PCA, kind of knows what's going on. So I think that's a good thing for starters. Josh sent out a thing to all the media members today, as I'm sure he sent out things to retailers and manufacturers separately as well. But, we got something from the media that, just kind of hit some of his thoughts and stuff. I really won't get into that, but, just kind of doing his thing already and being very approachable. And so one thing I liked about Scott Pierce was that he was very approachable and very accessible, and thought he was a great leader and did a lot of great things. So I'm excited to see what Josh will do in that role now and kind of what he brings to the table. So he is effective immediately. He is the executive director of the Premium Cigar Association. And Willie, as representing a manufacturer, obviously this affects everybody. Like I said, it affects you guys too. So interested to see how it goes with the manufacturers as well and the retailers who are members of the organization, and changes he might make and things he might do, and we'll see. Wish him nothing but the best. He's a great guy. I've obviously known him for a few years, and I wish him nothing but the best. So congratulations to Josh. So that is going to be our news this week, brought to you once again by Micallef Cigars. Speaking of PCA, speaking of the trade show, we just had our trade show in March, and we've talked about this on the Spare Note show a little bit. It's been kind of it's been kind of quiet the last couple of months. It's like, you have this build up to the show, you got the show, and you get all the announcements that come after the show, and usually it's in like the middle of the year, so you get the spring, building up to the show, you get the summer, you get the show, and then you get all the releases and stuff, and then you get into the holidays, and you get the end of the year stuff. I feel like the way things went this year with the industry, everything kind of happened Q1 to early Q2, and now it's just been quiet. There's been some stuff going on. There's been some events and stuff, but nothing really major. It's been kind of quiet industry-wide. But we look ahead to 2025 and head into New Orleans for the next trade show in April. So that will definitely be interesting. You excited to go back to New Orleans? I don't know. I've never been to New Orleans. I'm sure you have.
My first PCA was the New Orleans one, in 2013, 2014. So.
Okay.
I've been back on vacation since, but that was a rough one because that was post-hurricane. So the city was still in a rebuild mode. There was a lot of people that got mugged or robbed or drunk and stuff like that. It wasn't the best time, but life is different. I've then been back on vacation and checked out the city. I will say in April is way much better weather than in June, July because it can get hot. I'm more interested to see what they do with the smoking bans and stuff like that. Hopefully, it's lifted while our time there so we can enjoy ourselves and stuff like that. But I think you're going to see a revamp in other companies doing stuff. You got the Traveling Rose Show with Altadis and a couple of brands together and stuff like that.
Yes.
And you got some other things about to pop off in September and things like that with other companies. So I think brands are just coming together and seeing what we can create to fill that void. Obviously, it's an adaptation year with all the changes into Q1 and Q2, and let's get the elephant out the room. It's an election year, so everything is kind of like what's gonna happen. There's always a struggle on election years for obvious reasons and stuff like that. So I think that's what you're seeing now in the summertime as we get closer to November. On the industry, to see a revamp of new things coming out from different companies. I know we're working on some things that I can't say yet, but
of course,
we're working on some things to come out in a few months and stuff like that. So it's like you said, it was weird because you're at the show in March, but 6 weeks before that you were also in TPE in Vegas. So there was a lot crammed into Q1 right out the gate. You're invoicing these guys into April, and you're finally shipping stuff end of April, mid-May. So now June and July, you kind of work out that kinks, but then what? So I think you'll start to see the revamp of newer stuff, companies getting creative.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think this year, and I don't know how it was for you guys this year. I don't know if we talked about this past trade show. But I think for a lot of manufacturers, people knew that the schedule was changing. I don't think it was like sudden, like, oh shit, like we just lost like 3 or 4 months.
Oh, 100%.
We
played it safe,
Yeah.
just some limited edition, core line, one off, and let's just get through the year. I mean, you play it safe because you don't have enough time. It was literally a 6 month turnaround. I mean, just not enough time. Now going for next year. Now get ready. We'll be. Everybody's gonna have their guns blazing and ready to go.
And it's funny. I agree with everything you just said, and I feel like not that this past show. It was not. It was as a show. It was a great show. Release wise, there was some good stuff. We saw some good stuff we saw with you guys was interesting, and obviously Steve Saka's always got something, and the big guys always got something. Drew Estate, Altidus, and everyone's always got something, right? But it definitely felt quieter. Didn't seem as exciting as it has been in terms of products or things that are happening and just stuff the companies are doing. And I think that obviously played a lot into it. And we saw a lot of companies play it safe, like you mentioned. You guys played it safe, which is fine. You guys had stuff, and you had some special stuff, and you had a great show. But you're right. I think next year you're gonna see a lot more action. I think it's my prediction. If we don't, I think that's interesting. But I think you're right. I think we'll see a lot of action. And then you bring up the election year, which like you said, I don't want to really get in political, but at the same time, election years are usually interesting, I guess, to say the least. Sometimes there's uncertainty. Sometimes there's certain changes that come because of that. Without getting into a lot of specifics, time will tell.
I feel like that's what we're living right now.
Right.
It's a crazy world out there.
Right, and we don't know what's going to happen after that, and so I think you're right. I think there's a lot of people that business as usual. Everyone's going to keep the business going regardless. But I think you're right. I think there's also a lot of things that people might have planned for one way or the other. And it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. But yeah, election years are always stressful and interesting and mysterious, I would say. So, but regardless, I think the 2025 show, product-wise, is going to be busy. It'd be interesting to see how everyone fares with the location of the show and the extracurriculars that go with it, which still seems to be a big topic of conversation. I feel like every time this comes up on the show or in a discussion, it's always like, oh, what's going to happen? But we'll see. We'll find out. And
I mean, we're having those conversations already internally, and I'm sure other manufacturers are. Curricular activities: who, what, where, when, why, and how. So to try to get ahead.
A lot of manufacturers, they hold events or parties or whatever, and I know a lot of times like Espinosa would get like a smoking suite within the hotel, or I know Skip Martin's done he's had some parties that he's done, and so many others. They've done these things, and it's easy in Vegas because you get all the lounges, or you got tons of smoking rooms in all the casinos, and this and that and this and that. Going to New Orleans, it's kind of like, well, outside, it's not even just hanging out and smoking, but it's like all these extra special events that people go to, and they host these dinners or parties or functions or whatever. It's kind of like, yeah, what's going to happen? There's not really that many places to do that where you can, have a cigar and be in a place. So I think that is the big thing too, because I think those are important, because I think it's good for retailers, for the retailers who are involved and stuff like that. I think a lot of business gets done off of the floor, and I think if there's a limit to the potential of those outings, I think that could impact people too. So that's one thing that I do worry about for manufacturers and retailers who do a lot of off-floor business, because I know that's a huge part of the business, and I hope that it's not severely impacted in that way, because that would be disappointing for all of those people. But anyway, we'll see. We'll worry about that when the time comes. So, but anyway, I'm watching the time here, and we are getting later into the show, and I wish Kevin was here too, because I miss seeing his face every week, and I don't think you guys have met yet. Maybe at the show. I don't know if you met Kevin yet, but
I think we met at the show. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you might have met him. I don't know. He was there. He was floating around, as well as Mitchell, who's from Canada. I don't know if you met Mitchell either, but they've been there. And but yeah, it's disappointing not having Kevin here. I'm kind of sad. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm used to having him here. He busts my balls too. He busts my balls every week. So, which I guess it's nice because
we get a break now. We get a break of all that, and then football season starts, and we regroup and we start all over again.
I know.
This is the downtime. Unfortunately, Red Sox are playing a little bit better. Marlins are not having the best season. So, there's not a lot we can say about that other than hope the Yankees start losing games, and we can agree to that.
We definitely agree with that. I think anyone who doesn't live in New York or isn't one of those, like, I cheer for the Yankees because I live in a state where we don't have a professional baseball team, and that's what I know. Those people. Yeah, I don't want to see them. I don't want to see them be successful, obviously. Which is what I imagine you guys feel about the Celtics. I kind of get it in that retrospect, but
Well,
it is
in all fairness, the Celtics has been since I was a child because my cousin, which is like my older brother, big Larry Bird fan. So I've just been hearing about the Celtics just since I was little. So it's just always one of those things with him. I was like, ah! And then I come into New England and it's like a whole nother level. But in all fairness, it's been a rivalry in the family since we were little because my cousin, born and raised in Miami his whole life, just a Larry Bird fan and just a huge Celtics fan. So it's in the family. So it's personal, like at the dinner table.
Well, I'll admit, being from Boston, obviously being a Celtics fan, and I didn't get into, I didn't really get into the Celtics like hardcore until much later in life. But I always watched all the sports growing up, and always thought it was special. But I will admit, my first love, being a young child, being born in the early '90s, was Michael Jordan and the Bulls. I can still, vaguely remember that time. You probably remember it a little bit better than I do because I know you're a little bit older than I am. But I had
Thanks,
Jordan's.
Appreciate that.
I had. Well, I don't mean it in a bad way, but I'm just, you probably do. How old are you? I forget.
I'll be 40 next year.
No fucking way. Really? All right. So you're 10 years older than me. So you definitely remember. You definitely remember. You definitely remember. But yeah,
I can't hear you. You're dropping out. What this reception is not good.
You know what? To be fair, you don't look 40. You look good. You look good. So you look good. That's the best I can do for you. I mean, you don't look old. So
no, but listen, the Celtics had some down years, but that team is phenomenal. And like I told Carney and a bunch of the guys up there, since day one of the season, it was gonna be Larry or bust, and they got it done. You were always the best team on paper in the league, no matter what anybody in the West Coast said. And you had some help with some injuries along the playoffs, but hey, that was your ride, and you guys did it, and you got it done. Congrats to Big Al finally getting his. That's a beautiful story. And I told you this as much as I don't like Tatum. Watching him carry Dookie and the confetti in the background, that's just wholesome, good material. And it's hard to hate on that. It is what it is.
As a person, he's not a bad guy. And he's got his kid, and he's very, the bond between him and his son, I think, it has covered a lot, and
it's a beautiful thing to watch. It's a beautiful thing to watch. There's no way you can hate on that.
No,
absolutely.
You can't. You can't take that away from him. I mean, that's a huge thing. There's a lot of guys out there that
no matter who wins the Stanley Cup, it's beautiful to see the babies and the kids. When they place them on there for the picture. It's a beautiful thing.
All the sports, all of them. That's the cool thing. When the championships happen and it's over, and the families come onto the field and you see them with their kids, and it's like. You got to remember, too, I mean, these guys, like all the sports, especially baseball, I would say is probably the worst because baseball has, like, the longest season, the most amount of games, which also means the most amount of time away from the family. You got to remember, I mean, these guys spend so much time away from their kids, because it's not just the games, and it's not just the travel, it's the training. And it's the practice, and it's the working with the coaches, and working with the trainer, and working with the nutritionist, and the physical therapist, and all the team meetings, and the tape that they watch, and all that stuff. That's a lot of time, You're talking like that's more than the average full-time job. I mean, they spend a lot of time away from their family. So when they win those championships, it doesn't matter who it is or what sport it is or what championship it is. Yeah, it's special to see that.
You got to think that there's still 12 teams in hockey and 12 teams in the NBA that have never won a major championship.
It's true.
So
it's true.
When you get that opportunity to celebrate it, you never know when it's going to happen again. So you got to enjoy it.
Yeah, and I think that, obviously, we have been very fortunate here in Boston, with all the teams in the last 20 years or so. And all jokes aside, it is so special, and we know, we don't take it for granted. I mean, we know that, that time is probably coming to an end. I mean, yes, the Celtics just won, but, I don't see the Patriots winning a Super Bowl again anytime soon. The Red Sox, I don't know, maybe. We'll see. Things are kind of changing within that organization right now, and I'm not sure how that's really going to look long term. Bruins, they get to the playoffs, they play great all season, and just lately it's like they get to the playoffs and they just die. And so it's kind of like, well, I don't know. I don't know if they can get over that hump. I mean, the last couple of years they had some good tries. They've lost the finals the last 2 times they went. It's disappointing, but, still just haven't.
They just made some moves. They made some moves over the last 24, 36 hours. Didn't they? They traded somebody.
We traded Linus Ullmark, our other goaltender, which is disappointing. He's a great goaltender, but, I don't know. I mean, some
draft picks, though, which is what you need. You got to build. You got to build that.
That's true. I mean, and, Jeremy Swayman, I think, proved himself as a solid starting goaltender for us. I mean, he was phenomenal. I think that, defense is not going to win the game by itself. I mean, you can only block so many goals. If you're not scoring any either, then you're not going to win games. So he did a phenomenal job, but we just didn't get enough done. And to their credit, we played Florida. I mean, that was we barely got through the Leafs. I mean, I thought the Leafs we were going to really get through, and I think that was 7 games, wasn't it? And then we went to Florida, and I think by the time they got to Florida, they were just too tired for that very physical game that Florida played, and for the second year in a row. So, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with the Bruins. Will they get that monkey off their back? I don't know. I'm glad the Celtics did it. I think, maybe they have a good couple of years.
They're going to be around. They're going to be around for a bit. I think that core is going to be together. But, look out. A healthy Knicks team, what would that have looked like,
Even if you guys were healthy. I mean, I know Butler was hurt, and I think
the East is definitely enjoying the ride of being a little more dominant conference right now. Until further notice.
Yeah, which I'm happy about. I'm just so sick of hearing about LeBron. I am. I don't know what your stance is with LeBron. I don't think we've ever talked about that, but I'm just so sick of hearing about it.
I got my reservations for him. The way he exited. That's another show on another day.
Oh, I forgot about that. That's right. He was with Miami, and so look, I just, is he a good player? Yeah, obviously. He's not a bum. He's won a couple of rings. I mean, he's
a better person off the court. There's no taking away his philanthropy, the role model he is for the kids. Never heard anything bad about him. Always there for his family. Always giving back to Akron, to LA, to there's no giving away what he does and what he's provided off the court.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't follow him to that retrospect, but I do know he's very active, and I know he does a lot of other stuff off the court. So it's hard to knock anybody, no matter how much you hate him on the floor. It's hard to knock what they do off the floor because it's good. It's good stuff. But on the floor, yeah, I just tired of hearing about him. But again, we won this year.
You're probably going to be hearing more. 36 hours, depending how this draft goes. All the rumors is Bronny going to go to the Lakers? So they'll be the first father and son duo in the NBA. So get ready. It might happen.
I think that's what he wants. I think that's what he wants, and then he'll retire.
I think that's what the league wants.
Oh, yeah. It's all, it's money, man. It'll sell. You know what I mean? I get it. It's business. At the end of the day, it's all business. We could talk about sports all we want. It's all business at the end of the day. That's all it is. That's the reality about all. It's entertainment and it's business. So, but anyway, look, I'm watching our time here. We are getting up to our hour. So, I know we're getting towards the end of the show, and I just want to say, Willie, thank you for being here with me tonight. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No, thank you for having me on. It was a lot of fun. We got to do this more frequently.
Obviously, yeah.
So
Anytime. You're always welcome on the show. I'm glad you were here tonight.
hope you enjoy. I hope you enjoyed the 120.
Absolutely. I have. There's a lot of flavor on this cigar. And I have to say, hats off to you guys at La Aurora for this cigar. I'm gonna peel my band here.
It was a 2-year process with over 62 blends, and obviously all the tobacco is aged 8 years in it. But it was hard, 62 different blends over a 2-year period. But that's our job.
That's what you guys do. And when you've been around that long, you learn a couple of things. You do some things right, and you know how to make cigars. You know how to blend them. You got some great people that work for you. Whether it's down in the factory, it's the guys like you who are out and about, telling the story and moving the product. That's what success is. You guys have done a really great job. You make it look easy, but to get to 120
and
years,
I will say,
not.
this is just the beginning of the new dawn, which is what we've been saying over almost 2 years now since we launched La Aurora USA. So it's the new dawn. This is blend number 1 of the new dawn, and we're concentrated on attacking the U.S. market. They're taking strides to understand the U.S. consumer and stuff like that. So expect more great products. Expect more different cigars than what you're used to from La Aurora. And everyone always says, you're not known for this or that. Well, we're breaking all barriers, and we're coming for everything. Just stand by and stay tuned. But we're coming, and this is step 1. And 2025 we'll have some new projects coming along, and just keep pounding the road and stuff like that. We're up to 5 reps now that we've hired, and still growing. We're looking to continue to put the right people in place. You've been to the booth, so you've seen everything is family. From the DR to here, and that's the core of this, is all family. There's no ego, there's no one rep or one person above other. It's all hands on deck, and everyone does what they can do to make sure we get everything done the right way, the La Aurora way, and the right way for you guys out there.
Absolutely. Well, you guys are doing a great job, Willie. I wish you guys nothing but the best, and you personally. Thank you for being on the show tonight, and I know you've teased some stuff for next year, and I'm not going to dig for it because I know you won't share. I'll wait, and I'll enjoy it when you guys do share it with us in 2025. So I look forward to that. Coming by the booth and checking out what you guys have. So it'll be exciting for sure. I know you guys are probably doing something great. So, but thank you again for being on the show. Thanks for talking basketball with me. I promised I wouldn't, rub in the championship too much, but I can't ignore the elephant in the room. But it'll be cool. Next year's another year, and anything can happen.
We share a common bond. Listen, it's the St. Louis connection. The best friends, they did it. It's all good. It's a great story.
It is. Yeah, it is. It's a great story, and I almost forgot about that. That is. I was looking at that. I was like, oh shit, that's right. They finally made it. So they both got it. So that was cool. But yeah, no, it was a good show, and. Maybe we'll get some of the other guys on here with us, and we'll do a sports centered show. We'll smoke, we'll talk just sports, and we'll do something kind of outside of the business, and we'll get a little group going, and maybe we'll put that together. That'd be cool.
That could be fun.
Oh yeah, I'll make sure Carney's there for sure if I do that. He's definitely gonna be there. But hey, listen, I'm gonna wrap up the show here now and call it a night. So Willie, thank you guys. Thank you for at home if you're listening or watching. Thank you for being here with us. Don't forget to go to smokintabacco.com for more news, reviews, and updates from the cigar industry, and we'll see you next week. Take care.